So thank y'all so much for coming out tonight. I've never been back here at Bourbon Street Grille. This is a beautiful setting. And I'm very excited to see all of you because this is going to be the group that flips the 9th District right here. Yes, we are working every day. We've got people putting up yard signs, writing postcards, talking to their neighbors because, the other side has got Fox News, they've got talk radio, but they can't take away our relationships with our neighbors. Little good news from the trail. We had our debate for the primary last Monday, and afterward, a Trump supporter, a Trump voter, came up to me who had heard me debate, and she said, listen, I voted for Trump, but I just want to tell you I'm going to vote for you because of your message on health care. So, because we are progressives, we recognize that every human being is equally capable of rational thought, and that there are always things that we can agree on. And if we can actually run our campaign and operate from that perspective, of course, there are times when we show our oppositions and we're very honest about it. I have not hidden any of my feelings about the president, ever. And so, but you don't have to. People actually respect you if you're authentic and if you have a positive vision. And that's really what I focused on the debate. But I've noticed, it's the season of political commercials. You guys have probably seen some of them. Who do you think is the winner for worst commercial? I mean, Kemp. Brian Kemp. Now, Mr. Kemp may or may not ever see this. Some of his supporters won't see this, but you will not make it to the governor's mansion, so you won't be getting that beautiful health care paid for by the taxpayers or that any of those paychecks cut from the taxpayer money or anything. But you do win the dumbest commercial. So I will send you a consolation prize. So I wanted you to notice their tactic, though, and I want us to make sure that we don't play along with that tactic. It reminds me of the technique that farmers use. I'm from Martin, so a lot of farms all around. I grew up in front of and behind a cow pasture. And my father would often plant corn back in the big field on the old place. It was about a 8-acre field. And scarecrows work. When you're a kid, they tell you that this scarecrow here is going to scare away the crows. You think there's no way they can be that easily fooled. But they really do work. And Republicans use the same technique. Now, the scarecrow changes outfits every couple of years, right? In the early 2000s, they dressed it up like LGBT people. And they tried to scare Americans that somehow LGBT people having equality was going to somehow deprive other people of their freedom. And it turns out that my marriage, which is a hetero marriage, wasn't harmed at all because other people acquired the same liberty I had. That this is not a zero-sum game. And now they're trying to dress up the scarecrow as a different outfit this year, right? Now it's immigrants. Everybody's competing over how much they can hate immigrants. And the economy of this state could not run one day without immigrants. And I'll say this, and I'll say it over and over. One hardworking immigrant, which had a hand in picking and preparing your food today, will do more for this nation in one day's hard work than 100 Kemps in a lifetime. So I'm going to get a different truck from Mr. Kemp's, and I'm going to round up some of those people, and I'm going to find a way to citizenship for those people in the legislature through the law, because that's what we need to do for people who come here for a better life. So thank you for coming out here today, and thank you for your willingness to talk to your neighbors. That was not symbolic. But in our nation, especially coming towards this midterm, they're going to try to make it all about Trump, which partly it is, clearly a referendum on the president, which is why, President Trump in a midterm in Tennessee is having to go down and rally for Marsha Blackburn. That is unheard of. That should be a cakewalk for them. And so, but it's not. They're worried. They're all worried. We have leakers in the White House worried. Funny story, by the way, today they did an article on a meeting on leaking. And it's such a badly run, it's just like those casinos that went bankrupt. Funny thing, you hire a guy to run the country who managed to bankrupt a casino, and he's not a very good manager because they had a meeting about the leaks, and they talked in the meeting about how this meeting was going to be leaked. And it did get leaked by over 5 people who were all leaking different theories about why everybody was leaking from that meeting. So, it's all, they want to make it about him. They want to make it the tabloid circus politics. But always remember, America is your neighbor. That is America. America is your LGBT neighbor, your neighbor who is in pain, who can't get certain medications in Georgia because they can't pass reasonable laws about marijuana. America is your young neighbor who right now is experiencing terrible unemployment and underpayment because of the way our economy is working. America is the neighbor who has to choose between life and livelihood, who has a pain in their chest and they're worried about losing their whole life savings. That is America. And patriotism is impossible unless you love that neighbor. I love my neighbors, and I know that people in here do too. And we want what's best for every single American. McCall for all. Even for those who oppose us, who call us bad names in the paper, who compare Democrats. Now, look around this room. Comparing us to terrorists, we're the least scary bunch that you could possibly imagine. One of my favorite moments, and I'll close on this, one of my favorite moments was when Marissa, who is everywhere, by the way. Everybody give a hand to Marissa, please, for all of her hard work. She organized a gun sense rally, March for Our Lives rally in Gainesville, Georgia, on Roosevelt Square, one of my favorite places to go to. And 2 or 3 gentlemen showed up to our forum, and they were on the other side of the fence from us on guns. And do you know, have you ever seen a Trump rally when people show up to protest and disagree? They get punched, spit on, thrown out. But when they showed up to our rally, we applauded them for the bravery it took to show up in a crowd that was different from. That's why I'm a Democrat right there, because we really love our neighbors. So let's keep doing that and move forward. That's our strategy. They can take the radio waves, they can have Fox News, but they will never be able to take our relationships with those we care about right next door to us here at home. So thank you for coming out tonight. I'm over here I'm gonna eat a little salad. I'm trying to lose some of my campaign gut, and but I want to make sure and speak to each and every one of you before you leave tonight. Thank you for coming out and having some fellowship tonight. I appreciate all of you, all of your work, and your passion. Have a great night.